2020 is going to go down in the history books for sure. And, all of our companies, at the Columbus Partnership, we have 75 CEOs who care very passionately about their community and leave their selfish interest at the door and bring their community interest to the table. And, it's been a challenging time for every single one of those CEOs, all of our companies, as it has been for everybody in our city and throughout the state. And so we're all being impacted, some companies more than others, but nobody is going, without very, significant changes in their business environments.
Can you talk about what they're thinking right now, at the moment right now?
Yeah, look, I think back in March going into this, the great uncertainty for all of us. And so, super collaboration with our mayor and with our governor. Our hats off to both of them and all of our public leaders, because this is, such a challenging time, and their leadership, really shows in a positive way. Mm-hmm. So lots of collaboration with our public leaders, lots of collaboration among our CEOs in terms of, what to do in terms of, shutting down operations as we knew them. Nobody stopped working, but, everybody's environments changed. We were all working together to learn best practices, to think about how to work together, how to share, and then even coming back, we've continued to have just great conversations, again, not just with our public leaders, but among our CEOs and their leaders inside their companies to mm-hmm. share the kinds of things that people are doing. And I think what I've seen is I've seen Columbus companies really leading the way in the country. Companies that, decided to go home a little earlier than most companies. And most all of our companies are still, being very cautious and very responsible, candidly, about coming back. And, not everybody has the luxury and the ability to work from home. And so there's still a lot of frontline workers throughout the process, yourself included. The news has got to go on, right?
Right.
At the Columbus Partnership, first and foremost, our main focus has always been the economic prosperity of our region for all of our citizens. And we know that all the progress that we've made over the last decade is one of the great cities in America. From a job creation standpoint, while it hasn't all been wiped out, this is a big setback, and we've got to get back to the important work of growing jobs, getting the unemployment rate down, and our CEOs and myself, we have an unwavering belief in our city. All the things that we've accomplished, we've always done it in public-private partnerships. We do it in partnership with our mayor, with our county commission, with our governor, the great growth that is all around us, and a vibrant downtown, and so much development we can't take for granted. And so we're all anxious and we're turning our attention to making sure that we have a comeback and that we have recovery, while at the same time, also recognizing some of the challenges that this year has really put at the forefront. And so people talk about the new normal. When are we going to get back to the new normal? I hope we get back to the new, better normal, because I think we have a moment in time, not simply to recover, but to recover and improve.
Can you talk about the pivot that needs to happen in terms of confronting systemic racism?
Yeah, look, if there's a silver lining in the year 2020, I hope that it will be the fact that we've had an awakening. And I actually take it very personal. I've not been as aggressive or done everything that I can to, help figure out the race issues that exist, the racism that exists in our community. It's not good enough to simply say you're not racist. What are we going to do to fight racism? And I'm awake on that issue personally, and I'm going to continue to always lead. And, we can't let this be a fleeting moment in time. And, even before some of the deeper rooted racism issues started presenting themselves, you could see it showing up in the health data of COVID. And, it gets to the root of the disparity in healthcare, and healthy living is such an important part of a healthy economy, and you can't separate the two. We know we have an infant mortality rate that's unacceptable, but we also know that infant mortality rate hits Black individuals so much more severely in our community. We know unemployment issues are hitting the Black community, more severely. And so we know then that COVID, the disease, was hitting Black individuals more severely. And we really have to have a gut check to understand why, and to make sure that, first acknowledging and recognizing it is one piece of the journey, but and I think a very important piece, but then figuring out what we're collectively going to do about it, which is going to be the harder challenge, because these are not issues that have easy answers.
I love that you said you're awake. So I'm going to write down Alex Fisher is woke. But I also wonder how challenging is it to nudge others to be awake? Because it is a hard challenge to recognize and admit your biases. And I think we all have them.
A couple of years ago at the partnership, our CEOs, we were talking about these issues. And I remember last year doing implicit bias training with our CEOs and using some experts from around the country to help push us on the issues. And we were laying a few good foundation blocks there that were beginning to get our leaders to open up and to feel vulnerable. And it gave a good platform when, over the last month to really go deep in just candid, blunt, honest conversations. Some people are mad, some people are confused, some people are angry. We're all at different stages in our own lives, in our own evolution on these issues. We've got to have the places where we can speak openly and candidly about it. And it's been, again, if there's a silver lining, the depth and the deepness of those conversations, I think, sets us up at the Columbus Partnership to make sure that this isn't just a fleeting moment, that this is a real moment in time that we're going to tackle it. We know we have to turn the mirror on ourselves. We know that our boardrooms and our executive suites and our companies, don't have the diversity that they need to have. Some have more than others, and we all can do better. We know that we need to be, thinking about contracting practices and how do we do business with our neighbors as opposed to business in other states. And when we do business with our neighbors, how do we do business with our Black neighbors?
You're a leader of leaders. What does your to-do list look like on this?
Well, it's long, but right now it's in a lot of conversation. You have to do a lot of listening, and I'll tell you, I don't have the game plan all figured out by a long shot. I think we're just getting started, and so probably the busiest thing that I'm doing right now is just being in conversations candidly, just like this, with lots and lots of people, not only our partnership CEOs, community leaders, members of the African American community, business leaders of all types, our political leaders, just trying to understand the best courses of action into the future.